Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Ptosha Storey and Jordan L. Jones is in the building.
Yeah.
Jordan, where would people know you from, King?
Bel-Air on Peacock. I play jazz.
I remember he was a junior in high school, and I was like, son, listen, you're gonna have to get a regular job during the summer. He was like, Mom, just give me an agent.
I was really just trying to get her to be quiet.
He gets this audition. He goes in, he comes out. I said, how'd you do? I booked it. Son, you didn't book
You're
it.
not booking on spot.
You didn't book it.
You can do well and not get the role.
Yeah.
I wasn't privy to that. Them giving me all these compliments and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I got it.
The next day, he booked it.
My mom really sacrificed her career for me. It was almost like right when I graduated, everything started popping
up for
for my
her?
mom. All this Tyler Perry stuff. Acrimony, Naya, Young and Restless.
I actually played his mom on Bel-Air.
She did.
You were like, hey, y'all, did y'all meet my mom? They was like, yeah, we met your
Yeah.
mom. He was like, no, my birth mom. Everybody just went up. It was a full circle moment to be able to work with my son, and everything that I worked for just started coming to me. You know, I tell people I'm in LA, I'm not really of it. To try to raise this young man in that environment was the biggest challenge.
When your divorce happened, how old was Jordan at the time?
When I left him, Jordan was 5. I was so devastated by his infidelity. I didn't meet my father till I was 13. I wanted to give my kids what I didn't have.
How did you feel growing up without a present father?
My dad had a play. He wanted me to go see it. It was in California. And so I had my Bel-Air people pull up and we went to the play.
Take your time, King.
Yeah, he
No, I want him to talk.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Jordan talk.
I started crying because you were this good. He ain't never teach me none of that. One of my favorite actors is Sterling K. Brown. And seeing all these people that I look up to come to see my dad perform. And in a way, it's like, man, you cool. You were cool.
You cool dude. As black men, we're forced to accept what's unacceptable. Yes, my mom and dad divorced, but don't divorce me as your son. If you met the woman right now, you think you'd be married within the next year or two? Dear Future Wifey.
Okay, scripturally, the Bible says your father has already designed and purposed you.
I experienced an invitation of God this morning.
So you gotta become an elite decision maker.
Elite decision maker.
He said, because you are one fleshly decision away from losing it all.
Etched in my mind is what true submission to Christ looks like.
I gotta maintain that secret connection I have with God.
I'm so full and don't want to belabor this letter.
And I understand how important it is for men to disciple men, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I've traded worldly pleasures to live a God-centered life.
The encounter I just had, I just need to rest in it.
Help us to be considerate, creative, and courageous lovers.
I love you. Your future hubby. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, Laterra R. Whitfield. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. And why don't you join our Patreon? And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review on this episode on Apple Podcasts. Rate it 5 stars and leave a review. When you leave reviews and rate the podcast, it helps with the algorithm on Apple Podcasts, where they'll recommend the Dear Future Wifey podcast to people who are looking for love and marriage and relationships. So go ahead, do your part. I greatly appreciate it. You know, this episode, I've been wanting to have an episode where I talk to a mother and her son. Just talk about the relationship journey as they've been watching each other matriculate through this thing called love. And last season I had a mother and a daughter, and this season is going to be quite interesting. This is homegrown. These are people that, I knew when I was in the acting business. So without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. My homie, Ptosha Storey and Jordan L. Jones is in the building.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Thank
Seriously,
you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Now listen, I know as soon as y'all's face popped up on the screen, they say, I know them from somewhere. I know them from somewhere. Where would they know you from, Ptosha?
Well, presently, they would probably know me from The Oval. I play Nancy, Tyler Perry's The Oval. And also Young and Restless, I play Naya.
You don't just throw that out there. That's where you was nominated.
nominated.
Emmy nominated. I need to put some respect on your name.
Yes.
Emmy nominated from Young and the Restless.
Yes.
What else?
Acrimony.
Acrimony,
I played the
yeah.
mean Brenda in Acrimony, just to name a few. But I think those are some of the highlights.
So even from the past, not only were you an actress, I saw a production that you directed.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I saw you directed at the DeSoto Civic Center.
Oh yeah, I actually direct a lot of stage.
Yeah.
And me and Akeem Babatunde, we do a lot of co-directing here in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And we just did Fannie Lou Hamer.
Oh yes.
I think that was about 5 months ago. So yeah, I'm constantly, kind of coming back to Dallas because I love Dallas. It's my hometown.
It's hometown. So you live in LA and you come down here.
Yeah, and I love the theater.
Yes.
And in LA, it's a lot of television and film, but just to get back home and get on those boards and be in the spirit of the theater, it revives me. So I try to do it as often as I can.
And I know this face right here is recognizable. Jordan, where would people know you from, King?
I've been in a few projects, but right now I'm in the middle of shooting Bel-Air on Peacock. I play jazz. So if you guys haven't checked that out, please do. It's a great show. I wouldn't even call it a reboot. I would call it a revamp, a reimagining of the original Fresh Prince.
I agree.
So yeah, I'm on that right now. So
how does it feel to be on such an iconic show?
Man, it's a blessing, man. It's really a privilege because, first and foremost, like everybody, when this was a thing in the making, it was like, do not mess up the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I was one of those people, you know?
So you were a fan of the show?
Oh, 100%. Still watch it, like to go to sleep, seen every episode hundreds of times. And so, fast forward, just getting this role and people enjoying the role and what I'm doing and just bringing my own flavor to this character is very humbling. And I'm just so thankful and blessed to be a part of something that could be it's hard to say redo, but a revamp and it still be good.
Yeah.
And so it really is just an honor, seriously, just to embody this character and people be like, man, you doing your thing, and not that you messed it up.
So was it intimidating to play a role that someone else already played?
First it was, until I started meeting the cast of the original. And they had seen the first episode and I met DJ Jazzy Jeffrey, and he was like, dude, you are doing your thing. His son was even like, you making the family proud. So once they said that, I was like,
how did you feel when DJ Jazzy Jeff said that to you?
Man, dude, it was no, it was a crazy feeling, man, because a lot of people ask me too, like, how do you study his character before and try to do it, but it's such a different show. It's a drama and not a sitcom, a comedy. So I couldn't do that anyway. The one-liners and I'm funny in the show, but I'm also very dramatic. I'm romantic, it's different facets of my character. Whereas in the original, as a sitcom, everybody's just funny. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't be like, okay, how would he do this part? He wouldn't, So a part of that, I just had to let go of that and just do it my way.
Yeah.
And it's been working out. It's been working out.
So Ptosha, people they would suspect that you're the one that introduced him to acting. Right. And you were trying to keep him as far away from it as possible. Why is that?
As far away as possible.
Why?
I think because of, the acting journey is a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many ebbs and flows. There's so much rejection involved. And as a mother, you just want to, keep your kid safe and you don't want him to have to deal with those things. And because I've been an actor for a long time, I know those valleys and hills and all of that. And I thought, I want you to be a banker, be a attorney, a doctor, something that that's going to be solid and substantial and consistent. Yeah. Sometimes acting is not as consistent as sometimes.
Sometimes, all time.
Most times, right?
Seriously.
And not only that, it's kind of like the NBA and the NFL. Everybody doesn't make it.
Yeah.
And when you do, you don't sustain it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just wanted him to be in something that was a lot more secure. And of course, and it's so funny because, when well, I know we're talking about that, but when I moved to LA, and I just made sure, because education is power to me, and I was like, you're gonna get your education. You know, I went to SMU. He went to USC. You know, totally not in acting. You know, he would go with me when I would rehearse things or what have you. He was around theater all the time, but just never focused on it. And I remember, and I'll just tell this quick story. I remember he was a junior in high school. And I was like, son, listen, you're going to have to like get a regular job during the summer. I got you during the year, but you know, I got to prepare you to be a man.
Yeah.
So you got to start getting your job. So he was like, and I said, so I sent him to the mall and he was just hating it. Remember that, Jordan?
I don't even want to think about it.
He was like,
wanna
I
work?
said, just get a job in the mall. He was like, I hate it. Then so the next summer he was like, Mom, just give me an agent. And I was like, dude, you can't just wake up and get an agent. He's like, just give me an agent. I'll just do some commercials or something. I said, Jordan, that's not something you just wake up and do. He goes, Mom, just do it. So I got him an agent. I was like, I'm going to show him, right?
So was he trying to act or model?
He was trying to be in the, what?
Also, I think it's just funny because I was really just trying to like get her to be quiet.
Yeah, no serious
I'll just do what you do. Like, give me a little commercial agent. Like, man, it's cool. I can do it. We'll do like that was my thinking at the time.
So I get an agent because I'm thinking, you know, it's not going to be easy, buddy. So then, of course, the agent falls in love with him. It's like, oh, we want to send him out. I was like, oh, okay. So then we send him out, and so he gets this audition for this big national commercial with NFL, with
NFL
Michael
Play
Strahan
60.
or whatever. So I'm like, okay, son, let me just get, okay, so you got to focus. You got to, you know,
So
I'm just
before
trying
that, you haven't even coached them in acting. That wasn't, you just said they just going to send them out.
Yeah. So then we get, and they started, I was like, okay, son, so I got to prepare you because I'm thinking about rejection. You know, I'm thinking about all these things. And then we go, and he goes in, he comes out. I said, how'd you do? I booked it. Son, you didn't book it.
You did not book it on spot.
You didn't book it on the spot. He goes, well, yeah, but I did. No, you didn't. He said, so I was like, oh, Lord. So then the next day, we get a call
Jordan,
back.
you booked it. Why you say you booked it? You just said you felt confident?
It's so funny. I think it's, you know, sometimes ignorance is bliss. Seriously, because I didn't know how it went. I see all these hundreds of kids in there, but from
ton of them.
What I've learned now is like, you know, in this industry, you can do well and not get the role.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't privy to that.
Right.
So like them giving me all these compliments and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. Like, they're like, great job and all this, do one more time. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. They love me.
Oh my God. And you know, I'm over here stressing out because I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed, all the things. So then the next day he gets a call back. I was like, okay, all right, so son, you did get a call back. So let me just, he's like, Mom, it's good. It's good.
Man.
Dude. So we go back in next, and I'm all nervous. It's about 50 people now. And he goes in, he comes out, how'd it go, son? Mom, I booked it. So,
This really happened too. That's what's crazy.
I was like, dude, it's not that simple, right? The next day, he booked it. They called, they booked it. I was like, okay. We go on set, and the director's like, oh my God. They were just, and then this one of the moms were like, you know, because he was underage, so I had to be with him. And one of the moms was like, when he walked in, I knew he had it. I was like, how you know? Because I didn't, you know. And then the director, his name was Ray, I'll never forget it. He was like, he has something. I'm telling you, he has something. So after that, I thought, okay, well, yeah, but he's going to college. I've been struggling all this time, you know, a single parent, and let you going to college, brother. So that's what we're doing. So his agent was like, well, you know, we would love to send him out for some shows, some television shows. I was like, nah.
Oh, you rejected it?
Yes, I did.
Did you know that, Jordan?
I did, but this was like when I was like a senior.
Yeah,
in
you were
high
saying,
school. Yeah, just wanted me to focus on school.
I did.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
I
So
was
you
like,
tell me you were just that easy. You were just like, oh, it makes sense. You like, Mama, you stopping my dreams.
I mean, it was.
It wasn't even a dream here.
Watch this stuff. It really wasn't. No. It's so funny. Another story, which is crazy, is that it really, even after I booked that commercial, it wasn't like a dream still. So at the time, you know, when you're younger, everybody wants to play basketball or like, you know, go to NFL, whatever. You don't realize that you're probably not going.
It's like acting, yes.
After we shot that commercial, I had another audition. And I told her I don't want to go because I had to go back because I wanted to make the end of basketball practice.
Yeah. That was for commercial, yeah.
It was for Ant Farm. It was a TV show.
Oh, okay.
On Disney. And I was like, nah, I don't want to go. Yeah. Like, because I'm trying to support the team and like, you know, all this. It's so stupid now. I think it was so dumb. But just to show you, I really wasn't focused on that. Yeah. Like, I wanted to be back with my friends and like, I was just trying to prove her wrong, I'm telling you.
He said, I do not want a job at the mall.
Yeah, I don't. I
I
do
was like,
not.
dude, that's what normal kids do.
Give
You
me
know
an
what I
agent
mean?
and I'll just...
He's like, give me an agent, I'll just do.
I'll just
I also
act.
went to private school.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like a lot of my friends were like rich white kids.
Yeah.
And like,
He went to Brentwood School.
they don't have no job. You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm,
why you
I'm
gotta
like,
be a
why
job?
do I gotta
Look,
get a job
but your
at the
black
mall?
mama over here.
And
we
nobody else is
struggling.
tripping over that. Yeah.
How do you get a chance to go to this rich school?
His mom was
God.
just making it happen with God. And it's
for
funny
real.
because when we lived in Ladera Heights, which is a black community, and then he went to a public school, parent school. And Jordan wasn't doing a whole bunch of work, and he was acing everything. And I was like, wait, hold up. And then he was in a gated program. But every day I'm like, you're not really having to study to get all these A's. And I was like, nah. So 4th grade, I was like, you know what? We're going to change this. So I applied to go to this, it's called the Center for Early Education. It's a private school. And because he has such good grades, and that's why I am such an advocate in education. If you don't have the money, your money is your education, especially as a minority. And so I knew that was important. So I was always on him about grades, period. And because of that, and because he was a smart human being, I was able to get him in. So it's called the Center for Early Education. And so I was part of this program where they sought out minority kids to,
give them opportunity.
Yeah, to give them opportunity. And so they had kicked out one young man, and it was one slot left. And Jordan got it. We had to test. It was like going to college.
And at what age? What age?
He was 4th grade.
Yeah,
4th grade.
So like 9, 10. Yeah.
God.
He was 4th grade, and so
He went there all the way through his high school too?
well, so that went to 6th grade, and he went to school with like Magic's kids and what all the
celebrities.
everybody.
Yeah, just a lot of celebrities.
A whole bunch of whatever.
Kids, yeah.
And so I
amazing.
just had to work a couple of jobs to make sure I paid my part, whatever. But I was like, no, we're staying here. This is what we're doing. So I just struggled, I didn't get to act as much because I was really just trying to make sure that he had the type of education that I thought
So
he
it
deserved.
makes sense now. It makes sense where you like, you ain't finna waste all this education you got to be no actor.
And so from there, the Center for Early right.
got this opportunity.
We doing this.
That's funny.
That's what she said. You don't waste that.
We doing this. I had to drive every day. I had to drive about 30 miles to get him to school. Every day, going there and going back. And then he was very active in all the sports and all the chess and music. And he was a very active kid. So
You in chess club?
I was doing chess, Black Student Association, like all type of sports. Like I was doing
he was
everything.
music. He got to sing at Carnegie Hall. He was
honors concert
Yeah.
singers. Yeah, I was doing a lot.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you talk about it. You
forgot
look back
about
and
that.
you're like,
I
dang,
ain't forget because I had to take you everywhere. Shoot. I'm trying to work, trying to act, trying to raise. It was a lot of things.
So how'd you feel? So why'd you let him be involved in so much like that?
Because I didn't want to rob him of a good life because I chose to move to Los Angeles to pursue my career. So I wanted to still honor him.
How were you able to
as a
do
young
both
man.
though? How were you able to do both of those? And he's involved. It wasn't like he was just going to school and that's it. He's involved in all these extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
How were you able to balance that?
It was tough. It was really tough because of the kind of mother I was. And I just really, I used to pray to God. I said, God, I know I moved here, to kind of follow my dream. But if this is not my purpose, then tell me, because I'm not gonna take away from what he is. And it's like God spoke to me, and he don't speak to me that often, so I'm not, you know what I mean? But I'm serious though when I tell you, he said, he's your purpose.
Woo!
And this makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
But he said, he's your purpose, and I got you afterwards. And I was like, but I'm gonna be, because LA, you gotta be cute and young and all that. And I just said, okay. So a lot of my friends who, I fed into Jordan, and a lot of my friends who have made it, I won't mention names, didn't, because they were like, they'll take a job and they'd be gone for 6 months. I couldn't do that to my kid. I had a manager, he was a very top manager in Los Angeles, and he would get upset with me because he was like, I need you to go to this red carpet. And I was like, well, no, my son has a Christmas play and I got to go because ain't nobody here but me. It's just he and I.
A Christmas play or a red carpet? Tosha, have you lost your mind?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And so I just said, okay, God, I'm with you. So, and even at one point, So I started working, I was still acting little stuff here, like a commercial here, some voiceovers here, but nothing that would take me away from him. And I want everything he wanted to do. I wanted to feed into that, and I wanted to support him. And so he went to CEE, and then after that, he got into Brentwood School, which is another private school.
Brentwood.
And so you can imagine this single mom didn't have much money, and he's around all these affluent, rich people. And then I'm trying to I still want him to be a part of it. You know what I mean? They called, can Jordan go on a play date to France? Can Jordan go on a play date? I'm like, okay.
Add 2, carry the 1. I got $50 toward the trip. What y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna have to do a fundraiser, sell some chocolate candy bars or something. Jordan will be able to go.
Right. So, but what was so beautiful about this human being that I have here is they loved him. And it's like at that time, I didn't have the money, but what I was able to do was put him in a position, right, where he could have access to so much. His life was so different than mine. I grew up, foster home projects, struggling, whatever. Yeah. And even though I didn't have that level of finance, but his experience, and he could probably tell you more about it, was traveling here and he went to every Laker game, sitting in the front row with Jack Nicholson. And I was like, Jordan, can you see if they can get your mama a seat? But they just wanted to be, with Jordan, and he still has those friends today. Yes. Because of who he was. And those were the biggest compliments.
Yeah, human capital.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. Yeah. When you don't have the financial capital, you have human capital, you build relationships, that gives you access. And that's the most beautiful thing is, as a mother, you position him to have access where your money couldn't give you or grant you access. How do you feel hearing that, Jordan? I know as she's recounting memory lane, you start saying, dang, I forgot I did all that. Dang, I was doing this. I was in Carnegie Hall. Wow. How do you feel knowing that your mom made that level of sacrifice in order to put you in a better position?
Man, it's just so interesting. I'm actually glad you asked that question because my mom made it seem like it wasn't a sacrifice. So, like she just said, I'm doing everything that all my rich friends are doing, and I'm not seeing the struggle. I'm going through everything. I'm like, I'm good. It's so funny. Sometimes people ask me, they're like, yo, so how was it? Coming from inner city, Inglewood, and then you go to this private school and the difference between you guys, and did you ever feel like you were less? I was like, what? I was like, I didn't think I was different. I was like, I'm doing the same stuff that they do, and I couldn't wait to go to school in the morning at 6 o'clock to see my friends and do all these things. So it wasn't like I felt any different. And that's a testament to my mother of her just sacrificing and just honestly, rolling with the punches and just following God and just sacrificing. So I didn't think that we were struggling, and I think that helped me a lot growing up too. And I think what's also just so interesting is that my mom really sacrificed her career for me. Yeah. Until she didn't have to raise me anymore. Yeah. And so I knew that we came out to LA, because my mom is an actress. But I know that she had to slow that down because, as I know too now, that this is the profession of no. Yes. So at the end of the day, she can't bank upon, okay, maybe in 2 months I'm gonna book this show. That's not how you do life. Yep. And so she had all type of jobs and stuff and put me through these schools, and I'm not seeing the struggle. And it's just so interesting how God is, because what she said was so interesting about how he spoke to you and just told you, take care of me and I got you. It was almost right when I graduated at SC, everything started popping for my mom. It was really crazy. It was right when I graduated. It was all this Tyler Perry stuff, Acrimony, Naya, Young and Restless, and all these things. And it was just interesting to me because when I'm younger, it's you don't really think about your parents are just when you're younger, you're just shut up, mom. You know what I'm saying?
You still do that too right now.
Yeah, I mean, but I still understand though. You don't really understand what they even going through. She didn't allow me to, and also I'm a kid. I think I know everything. I'm a teenager. I'm rebellious and all this, and I'm not even looking at nothing that she's doing. It's just she always fussing. You know what I'm saying? And as you get older, you start to realize, I tell my mom this all the time, so many times I'll say like certain sayings, my mom, but as in regular like conversation. Like my friend had said something to me and I was just like, so you just gonna pee in my face, tell me it's raining? But like I wasn't trying to say a saying, but like I start to see like my mom, I'll be talking and I'll be like, dang, I sound like my mom. all the time.
I've been trying to avoid this my whole life.
Man, avoid it. Like whenever my mom be like, she just talking again. Like, oh my God.
Don't let nobody pee in your face and tell you it's right.
No, for real. And I'm like, she just talking. Like my mom just talking, but as you get old, that's
homeboy, you just gonna pee in my face and tell me? Like, no, I ain't pee in your face. Pause, dude. Pause. He was like, pause.
I really say all that, you know, as an example, just to say that, like, man, like as I got older is when I really realized the sacrifice and certain stuff that my mom went through, and just even raising me. Like right now, I'm 31. I don't have any kids. Man, I couldn't imagine
having a kid.
Have to raise a kid, and this is you had me when you was. But she don't want to give up her age. Okay.
But tell your story. Son, just tell your story. Just leave my age out.
You know,
I was old enough, child.
But I was like, man, by this time I'd be such and such an age. I was like, I couldn't even imagine. And of course, if
Ptosha crazy.
God put that, of course, if God put that in my life, I'd have to figure it out and stuff. But I'd just be like, man, like, kudos to you. I didn't even realize how hard it was, especially you just being a single mother. Yeah. You know, raising a kid and putting me through all this, because like I would have been like, forget private school. Like, what's the most?
Yeah, in a minute. Yeah.
Like what's the most, you know, economically convenient thing?
Yeah.
And you was like, no, even though I don't have the money, I need you to do this, and I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah.
And I don't even do that for myself sometimes. I'll be like, look, I can make it work, but you know, I'm chilling.
I'm chilling. If I ain't got
I go to this over here, it's
Yeah.
cheaper. You know, so, you know, that's just a testament to you.
Thank you,
and, you know, just your love for me. And I really appreciate that, because I really wouldn't be the man I am today. I mean, like, even, you know, back to your other story, man, when my mom took me out of public school, I like resented my mom for like a whole summer.
Yeah.
Because these were like my best friends.
Yeah.
You know. But also, I'm 9. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think I do. You know what I'm saying?
My best friends.
So I'm like, these are my best friends. You're taking me away from my best friends. Like I was mad at my mom. And going to this new school was just like a whole different environment. Like now I'm the, you know, at public school, black people are the majority. Private, now we're the minority.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much for taking me out of that and putting me into these private schools, and I have these friends that I have, and you know, connections and networking and just seeing a bigger span of life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful and it's great to be black, but it's great to experience everything so you can know where you fit in, you know, and also how you can fit into any room, any environment. And I wouldn't really know how to do that if, you know what I'm saying, my mom didn't do that, and also not care about my feelings. Because that's another thing, you know, a lot of people, as my mom always say, like, I'm not your friend.
That's good.
And that's real. Not in a
mama.
but it's like, it's real. So it's like, I know better than you. So even if you gonna cry about it or whatever the case is, I'm still gonna go through with it. Yeah. It's hard to see your son cry and be sad about a decision that you made him do. But you got to, because you know in 10, 15, 20 years, you could be, you know, on your podcast. Thank you for it. So.
Yeah, an investment. And I want just to add to that, and just single mothers out there, single parents, period. He's right. I used to tell him all the time, like, my goal is not to be your friend. I am to be your mother. And I'm going to guide you in the best way possible with the help of God. And I think a lot of times where we make mistakes is when we try to be their friends and please them. I can't tell you how many times in the schools that Jordan was attending, the parents would be like asking my advice, you know, about their kid. You know, and I'm like, what? Because they would be too afraid.
Yep.
To discipline their kid, or to say, you know, Jordan was like, Mom, you know, we want to go to this party or whatever. I'm like, okay, who's gonna be there? What's the adult? Give me the address. Oh, he would hate it. He would hate it. But then there was a time when there was this big old huge thing where people got locked out or whatever, and I was the only one who had the address. All the parents were calling me because they didn't know where their kids were. So this Southern upbringing, this Southern upbringing that I have, you know, I tell people I'm in LA. I'm not really of it.
Teach.
I am this Southern upbringing that I have to try to raise this young man in that environment was the biggest challenge of all.
You said you're the only one that had the address to get
Only
there?
one had the address.
I
They called
remember
me.
that.
You remember
And
that?
then we had a car full of my friends.
Yeah.
Because no one knew.
Nobody knew how to
But
get
she
to
made
him.
me, and I was so mad because it's like nobody else's parents is asking these questions. So like, you like, why are you being extra? But actually, it ends up helping.
So she can identify, know where you were at the time you're supposed to be doing it. And it's so crazy.
It's crazy.
What's so interesting too, as you tell your story about these dual worlds that you lived in, Inglewood here and then and around
Bel-Air,
Bel-Air.
Yeah.
You're
Really
literally
proper.
Bel-Air.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Brentwood,
saying.
Bel-Air,
It's
yeah.
like you literally lived this show that you're on. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
And that's so interesting you said that, man, because I say that all the time. You know, art imitates life.
Yeah.
And in the show, I had to do that. Like, it's so funny. So Jabari, who plays Will, he's actually from Philly. And so the first day that we shot, we like hit it off. And I was like, in a way, I don't want to say big bro, even though I'm a little older, but that's like the bro. And it's like, I was like showing him LA. You know, he hadn't been in LA before. And I'm somebody, so like in the show, I'm from South Central, South Los Angeles. And I say this line where I'm like, this town will try to make you forget who you are and where you came from. Don't let it do that. And I was like, that's really what I grew up doing. I was, you know, I'm a, you know, inner city kid, but in this school was majority white people, but it's like, don't ever change who you are depending on where you are.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you say that because the whole show, we all as a cast will laugh and be like, man, are they spying on niggas? Like, I'm lost. Like, some of the situations that we go through, it's like, you know, it's crazy. It's easy to act because I'm not even acting. I'm just reliving what I already went through. So just being from South Los Angeles, picking him up, this Philly dude, I was like, that's exactly what happened. And not that like, you know, I gave him all this advice, but essentially I did, you know, not trying to be like, or let me tell you. But just as hanging out and going through stuff, like these are the places, like, you know, I've been through that too. Don't change for nobody. I went to white schools and, you know, just like he is in Bel-Air, fish out of water, I was that. And that's exactly how the character is on the show. And I'm just like,
so dope.
Man, art imitates life, seriously. So I guess the part was really for me, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
And I used to say that don't let the environment change who you are. You could always be who you are. And he has always been there from, I mean, I remember even in like 7th, 8th grade, he'd have like a whole fro. You know what I mean? And he was really proud of that. Like he's always been this black child in that environment. He didn't try to assimilate. He didn't try to be somebody else. He is Jordan L. Jones, and he's consistent in that way. I don't care where you put him. And that makes me proud.
That's love.
So what sent y'all, okay, so it's interesting. You were married at once upon a time.
I was.
How many years were you married?
10 years.
You were married for 10 years. And when your divorce happened, how old was Jordan at the time?
Well, when I left him.
Okay, so it was a left before a divorce.
Yes.
So you left him at how old was Jordan?
Jordan was 5 when
was
I
5.
decided to leave. And I was here in Dallas. And I was so devastated by his infidelity. How about that? And Jordan didn't even know anything about this till he got grown. So I was really protective of just what the story was or what have you. But I was so just devastated by that, and I couldn't come back from it. I was trying, so that's why I wasn't divorced yet. But then I decided, you know what? Now that I'm, you know, not in this marriage per se, I can make my own choices. And you know what? I'm gonna move to LA. And that's what I did.
So you were still married at the time.
I was still married. I was still married, but I decided, because you know, if you're married, you got to go with what your husband says. And he was never going to leave Dallas. It just wasn't going to happen. And that's a whole nother testament to, you know, rejection is really redirection. But I remember when I made the decision, I just wanted to get out of whatever this hurtful space I was in and just try something new and do something that I'd never done and do it for me, all those things. And so I decided to move to Los Angeles. And I remember thinking though, oh my God, what am I doing to my kid? You know, oh my God, he's going to hate me because I'm moving him away from family and moving him away from everything he's ever known. And I'm just thinking it's the worst decision in the world. And then of course, when you look at it, it was probably the best decision I ever made. But I wouldn't have done it had that rejection part.
Had you already decided at that point when you moved that you were going to get a divorce?
I had decided I was going to get a divorce, but he, you know, tried to fight a little bit. Kind of too late, you know, in my opinion. And then we finally divorced. And
so now you're single. Did you still have desires to get married?
No. No.
So I'm free.
I think initially, it's different now, but initially when I finally, made the decision to divorce, and here's the thing, my struggle was that, my beginnings were, I didn't meet my father till I was 13.
Oh.
I spent some time, in foster care until my mom came in, and got me, and then that's how we came to Dallas.
Hold on, what put you in foster care?
Well, when my mom always wanted me, but because she was very young when she had me, then the state took me away from her.
Okay.
Because she was in a compromising situation herself at the time with my sister. So she had, a bunch of things happening.
And you were what age when you got put in foster care?
Birth.
Oh, from birth?
Yeah.
You were born into the system?
Yeah.
I don't know if you, since you and I last talked 2021. What was that, 2020 during Clubhouse?
2021.
2021 is that, for years I've been an advocate for foster care and adoption.
Yeah.
And so as a licensed foster parent, I adopted my nephew, LaDarren, and I adopted my son, Armani. So that's what I live, sleep, eat, and breathe is foster care.
Foster care, wow.
Yeah, I sit on the board. I'm a vice president of the board of Advantage Adoption. And so, anytime I hear somebody that's connected to foster care, my heart just be like, it just reaches and grabs you.
Oh, yeah.
So you were in the foster care system up until what age?
I was about 6.
To 6.
So from birth to about 6.
And then your mom got you.
And then my mom came. She made an agreement with my foster mom to not have me adopted out. And that she was gonna, get her kids back, because eventually my sister came over, and then she came and got us both. And then that's how we moved to Dallas, because my mom got a job here in Dallas.
Where were you originally from?
Memphis.
Oh, Memphis. Okay, you from Memphis. All right.
Yeah. And then we moved into projects here, and I grew up in the projects here, And so it was a lot. I know, listen. And then I went.
Why you start laughing?
That's just the stories
our
I've been
stories are just so different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said what? You said the story.
It's just on some light, and I'll let you finish. But just like the story she'll tell me about growing up in the projects, and it's so funny to me because I just didn't live that life. I was fighting boys and and I'm like,
I was fighting to survive.
I was like, for real? I was like, that sounds crazy.
Please don't take me there, Mom.
Yeah, like I'm cool.
You see what I'm saying?
That's funny. I seriously couldn't imagine.
I could not imagine that lifestyle.
So it's funny.
So I dealt with a lot of, neglect, rejection, all that kind of stuff. And so, like, not meeting my dad or what have you. So what I wanted for my life, I made a decision. I said, whoever I married, I was going to marry one time. We're going to have all our kids. I wanted my kids to have 2 parents.
Yeah.
I wanted to give my kids what I didn't have.
That part.
And that was my dream. So when this happened with my ex-husband, it crushed me because everything that I thought just went away, because that act itself for me was deceit. It was so many things.
Yeah.
Because of all the things that I had gone through.
Yeah.
For somebody else, it may not be as that, but it was that for me. And so I couldn't get back at all. And then I remember thinking, okay, do I stay until Jordan is 18? At least he'll have like 2 parents. Yeah. So that's why it took me a minute to divorce, because I was trying to see if I could do it. But then I just wasn't happy after that. And then I just decided, now what I thought was going to happen is we would divorce and then we would both be in his life. And I thought, okay. And then he decided at that point he wasn't even going to be in either of our lives, including Jordan, which hurt me again.
Yeah.
And that was really, really painful. And so because of that, I just was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good with the whole marriage thing. Was such a disappointment.
Yeah.
I was, I remember when I went to therapy regarding it, as I was trying to make the decision, she said that, you have a dream and then there's reality. The dream you can control. Because you can control how he's going to act, how you're going to act, the picket fence, the dog, you got all that, because it's your dream. But then you deal in reality, you can only control you.
Yep.
And that was an epiphany moment for me. And I thought, so I can't control anybody else. So, okay, I'm not a failure necessarily. It's just that's what I wanted. I wanted that for him because I still believe that it takes 2 parents.
Oh, it does.
I still believe that. And so there are part of me that, I would try to find, I didn't want, it wasn't like somebody I was dating. If I wasn't going to marry him, he wasn't going to meet him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he could never say I had men in and out, because I just didn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I didn't want anybody else to be in a position to hurt him should they go.
Yeah.
But what I tried to do was just, I felt like God sent angels. There were men that I actually looked up to as we were going through our journey in Los Angeles, where I go, Jordan, that's what a family looks like. That's what a family looks like. That's the kind of man I think you should be. That's the guy, because I believe
That's good.
that a woman should not have to lead a household. It's just what we had.
Yeah.
So we had lemons, and lemons, and we had to make lemonade out of it. But I always try to tell him, this is not on purpose right here. This is not what God wants. So I want you to do something different. I don't want a woman leading you. I want you to lead your family. And I still believe that. But with that, your question was about marriage. So I had all that stuff. And I was like, I'm good. I'm just going to feed into my kid, feed into my career, and we'll keep it moving. And then, eventually, once I kind of had some control of, the direction that Jordan was going in, and, a little bit about what I was doing, I thought, well, I guess I could,
Try love again.
And now that I've grown and I've had, a lot more self-love, and I kind of understand what my mistakes were in it, because I made some mistakes too. I think one of which was, when I look back on my marriage, if I had to be accountable for anything, it was, I was trying to be a really good mom, but I think in the interim, I probably neglected him a little bit, where there's an example where I was at work. I was working at Sprint here in Dallas, and they said something was going on with the water. So I called and I was like, hey, don't let Jordan drink the water, because they said something's going on. He was like, well, what about me? So I can drink it? I was like, oh, you're grown. So that's a small example, but an example nonetheless of.
Don't let Jordan drink it. Whatever
you're grown, you can drink the water, but Jordan, don't let him drink this water, right? So I think, there's some accountability in that. So I've learned a lot about who I am, and what marriage really is, and all those things. So
were you the type that once you had your child, that which happens often, where you become so much of a helicopter mom, where everything becomes about your son and you neglect your husband? When you look back at that, was it a lot of that going on?
I think it was some of that. It wasn't a lot, but it was some of that. I think if I neglected anybody, it was myself. Yeah.
Why you say that?
I think because of that dream. I was just trying to be the wife.
So were you acting back then?
Mm-hmm. I was acting right here. Oh, stage.
So you were acting. You were married.
Yeah.
But you still feel like you was neglecting yourself.
Well, I was, because neglect is, for example, if it was, because he was an actor too. So if it was between he and I to do a job, because of my son, he would always get to do it.
Right.
Or I remember a time when, after I had Jordan, he was probably less than a year old. I started working overnight so that I could still work to help provide for our family. Then I'd direct and act in a day and try to be mom in a day, and so I never slept.
How about I was yesterday years old when I found out who your ex-husband was?
Oh, well.
I was like, I was yesterday years old. I was talking. I said, hold on, what? I said, I did a play with him.
Yeah.
I said, I did a play with him back in the day.
Yeah.
Cool guy. He a cool individual. And so when you grew up with... She said,
what happened?
I can start laughing. Jordan, why you start laughing?
Jordan, why are you laughing, dear?
You a cool individual, she said.
That's not true.
Your head did do that. Jordan didn't lie. You're like, So it depends on who you ask. Jordan, so you look back, growing up without, would you say that your father wasn't present in your life?
Yes, he was not.
And so how did you feel growing up without a present father?
Man, a couple of things. And a couple of things what my mom already said, where it's like, my mom always tries to talk to me about, like, if I have certain feelings, like, let them out, or like, you want to talk to a therapist, and I don't negate any of those, but like, seriously, even as I get older, I'm like, maybe the answer's gonna change, but I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't care, because I did. Especially when I was younger, I was like, there was times where I would cry because he said he would come to LA to visit me, and he didn't, whatever, right? But as I got older, kind of like what you said, well, number one, what I said is just like, I didn't really miss out on things. So I didn't really feel like I was getting a different lifestyle than my friends who had like mother and father in the same household. Secondly, I had a lot of father figures. I had a lot of them. So I was, it's not like like my best friends' fathers I look up to. And they treat me as if I'm their son as well. And so growing up, she, and that's great parenting on your part, just by putting me in the right places. And I got so many people I can call like godfathers and people I can call on right now, and they'll, drop everything just like I'm their son or treat me just like their son. And I think lastly is I'm just like a firm believer in like the butterfly effect, and to where that, everything happens for a reason. And right now in my life, I'm so grateful for like what my life is right now. And I feel like with the butterfly effect, if you go back in time and like move a rock and come back now, the apocalypse might, happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just as a drastic example, but not saying that, I wish my dad, like I don't care, but I'm happy. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with the lessons that my mom has taught me. I'm happy I got to see that journey. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy that, I can see a strong Black woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can see the difference between somebody who just like wants everything given to them or somebody who's just gonna make it happen. And so that puts a battery in my back. Regardless, man, female. So it's like I don't want to say glad because she's not gonna like it, but in a way I'm like not glad he wasn't there, but just like I don't know what my life would be if he was. I'll give you a perfect example. I love all of my friends. And I'm so glad that I have like the best friends and the God brothers that I have today. But I met all of them on my journey like through private school. Like my boy KJ, like that is my brother. And my dad didn't believe in private school. Spending too much money, all type of stuff, yada, yada. And so I might not have ever met them, I might not have, I'd have probably been at Inglewood High, whatever. I wouldn't have seen that, maybe you can do this and that. And oh my God, and thanks for putting me in these schools too, because I'm seeing, we in high school, I'm seeing Audis and Porsches in high school. And I'm like, I can do that, Another thing,
you were
like,
happy with your Honda?
Yeah.
He had a car though?
Got a car.
Yeah, he did good. Shoot, I
Had a
didn't get no
car.
car.
Yeah, he had a car. It was a Honda, but he had a car.
Yeah,
Had a car.
Shoot, shout out to the Honda. Mine had
Shout out to the Honda, man. That got me a lot of places.
Me
Shout
either.
out.
I
I had some Adidas and some wore out Nikes.
Yeah, no, he's had a car since what?
Man,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
But then like another thing too, just these are small things, but like I'm glad that you allow me to do them. Like just being younger, and then like for the weekend, sleep over at my friend's house. We all have sleepovers and stuff, and we 10. And like my dad, like he really wasn't on that.
Do you think that even if he was involved, even though he would be, still living where you live, Dallas at the time still? Or did he moved to New York at that time?
He moved to New York, yeah.
All right, so y'all from opposite end of the United States. Do you think he would have had a say-so just by being an active father, by what school you went to, if he lives
For
what
sure.
he would have?
Yeah.
Well, he would be the husband.
For sure.
No, I ain't talking about if y'all still married.
Oh. Okay,
No, I'm talking about the divorce is over. He is now father. He's no longer your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like at that role, are you quote unquote absolving him of his responsibility because of the life that you got a chance to live versus him being the active father, and even though he's in a whole nother state, that he can still be present
That's good.
and not be controlling your lifestyle?
Yes, he
I
could.
feel you with that. I'm not going to give him a pass, basically. Like I would absolutely love an active father. It was great seeing active fathers. But like, once again, I think it's like the fear of the unknown. And so I don't know what would have happened if he was around. And I do know what happened because he wasn't. Because I know what life actually is, step by step, how it happened. So it's more like, I'm kind of scared. Actually, I don't even care what really, now.
Yeah.
During the time, I probably would.
So going in the time, how are you processing it? Because you said you was doing some. I called earlier in the interview that you wasn't the most easy child to raise, and so like, how were you acting out when you look back? Hindsight being 2020, do you feel like you had some unresolved anger that you were taking out on your mom by her being so hands on with you? Like, man, whatever, it's like, when you look back at that, do you feel like that void that you had of not having this father in your life that you were wrestling with your masculinity, trying to figure out life, and you needed a male presence, even though you had these surrogate fathers in your life, that you say, I feel rejected. I feel rejected. Why don't my dad value me enough to be present in my life? See, this is the stuff that sometimes we normalize pain, we normalize trauma, and we say, I mean, you know, but my life, look how my life turned out. It turned out great. But in the process of it, that's where the Bible says, for I know all things work together for the good of them that love God and to the called according to his purpose. It's going to work out for your good. But in the process of it, you're sitting here as a young male, wrestling with your identity, wrestling with your masculinity, trying to figure out, well, the man that's supposed to give me identity, my father, shoot, why is he not present in my life? Why? Yes, my mom and dad divorced, but don't divorce me as your son. And so that's the reality that sometimes I realize as Black men, we're forced to accept what's unacceptable. We're forced to accept what's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. When I brought my daughter into this world, God gave me the responsibility, regardless of what my interaction and relationship was with her mom, that I took full advantage of the responsibility and the authority as a father. And I said, no matter what, I was 18 years old. I graduated from Samuel High School. I didn't even know who I was as a man, as a male. I said, but I'm a father, so we're going to figure this thing out together. And so my thing to you, Jordan, is that I love how you were able to, as your mom said earlier, make lemonade out of lemons, but you wasn't supposed to be the one squeezing it.
That's right.
Your father was supposed to be present in your life and be like, son, you ain't got to do this on your own because you got me. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you try to figure out things as you're in these other spaces that are unknown and uncomfortable for you, because here you are coming from Inglewood into these other quote unquote white spaces. I'm gonna teach you the game. I'm gonna give you the game. I'm gonna let you know how to handle all this. And son, I'm proud of you, man. You made it into this school. I'm proud of you, son. Man, happy birthday to you, man. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year's to you. Hearing those affirmations throughout your life is helping to develop who you are. But unfortunately, you had to become developed in those spaces from a calloused heart in a certain area that your father was supposed to be in your heart. That part is just calloused. And so you say, oh, I've learned how to just, that little part of my heart, I didn't really need that. It worked out, but it's still a callous void right there. And that's what I want to amplify in 2025 to help men understand that when you make the decision to lay down with a woman and produce life, God didn't say, oh, you're not responsible for that no more. He said, you're still responsible. That is your seed. Do the due diligence as a father and raise your seed. Period. We don't have to accept unacceptable behavior. And we've normalized that so much in our community that it frustrates me. I'll say, if I can go and adopt and foster other people's kids, then how dare people produce a life, and there's other, extenuating circumstances where people put their kids up for adoption and, shout out to them, whatever. They said, I'm putting you in a position to be parented by someone that they felt like is better suited for it. So shout out to those people. But when you produce a child and you haven't terminated your rights, because there's a termination of rights. When I adopted my kids, the parents had to terminate, they had to legally sign, I'm no longer responsible for this kid. I'm terminating my rights. As long as those rights haven't been terminated and you're not taking that responsibility of fatherhood or even motherhood, I frown on that. And so my reality to you, Jordan, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everything that you've accomplished. I'm glad that your mother was strategic and aligned you with great father figures in your life to help speak into your life. And you said if anything were to happen, you got men that will show up on your behalf. I'm glad you have that. But you also had a father that should have. How has y'all relationship grown since then?
First and foremost, I just want to say I really appreciate you saying that, because I never really thought about it like that. It's just interesting, because I just always felt like part of my answer to that question would have just been, I didn't know what I was missing out on because I hadn't gone through life yet, But you're right, that doesn't negate the responsibility, regardless of how my life turned out. And I never thought about it like that. I did, so I appreciate you.
And Jordan, in your defense, because we're so programmed to always be optimistic, you're a creative. As creatives, we're optimistic. We look like, oh, well, it happened this way and this is how I got this. We look at it from a hindsight being 20/20 and we look at all the beautiful thing. But that's why I want you to go back to the pain of it. I want you to go back to when you woke up and be like, dang, where my daddy at? I'm sitting at the football game. I'm sitting at the basketball game. I'm sitting at the events. I see Johnny, daddy drop him off and say, hey, son, have a great day. And you say, all right, okay. But deep down, you're like, hey, can I miss my dad? I'm just throw it off. I'm throw it off. And how many times did you throw that feeling away? How many times did you bury that feeling and be like, I ain't no big deal. I mean, it's just, I'm going to be successful to watch. Yeah. One day he going to come back and be like, dang, I'm going to show him what he missed out on. Those are those vows and covenants that we make with ourselves to be like, I'm going to show him that the biggest mistake he ever made was not being present in my life. And we make these vows. And then we get older and we forget those vows, but then they show up the minute that you look and lock eyes with them for the first time. You're like, I don't really know this dude. You know what I'm saying? And the fact you can look at your father and say, I don't really know him, that is a travesty. And we normalize that mentality so often. And as fathers, a lot of fathers are fine to be like, when he get older, we can talk. He gonna understand. It's just things with me and his mom, as adults, you know what I'm saying? It's just how adults do, Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, Jordan. In 2020, there's a video on my podcast where my sister and I gave my dad the knowledge of who his father was. After 72 years, my dad never knew who his dad was. He grew up with this void in his life, and I talked to him. I was 30 years old, and I watched how he didn't show up as a great example of a father in my life. And I asked him, I said, man, I have to give you props. He said, what? I said, because I used to always look at what you weren't in my life, but I can say one thing, I actually know who you are. So I gotta give you props to say I actually know who you are, and you don't even know who your dad is. And so he said that I said, so I gotta give you props to say that you stuck around and you don't know who your dad is. I said, how do you feel about not knowing your dad? Well, I ain't no big deal. I don't even think about it. My uncle, that was my daddy. So I always grew up with him. I said, Dad, you have a void in your life. You had to worry about, no, I ain't never thought about it. I ain't never thought about it. I said, you have. And so my sister and I, many years later, I went and started doing research on Ancestry.com, and I ended up finding out a connection with an uncle that lived in Houston. And then I started realizing, we started looking, we was like, hold on, this is our uncle. I tried to get my dad to give a sample. I ain't even give a sample. They're going to try to clone me. I said, they ain't going to clone you.
That's old-fashioned thing.
They're going to clone me. And so I made a joke with him. I said, why they going to make the same mistake twice?
Oh, hey.
He said, you crazy, you crazy. Right? So I said, they ain't going to clone you. So he never did do it. But my sister and I and my half-brother, quote unquote, from my dad's side, and all brought us together and connected us with these uncles and stuff. And I said, wow. And I brought my dad the knowledge of who his father was. And the uncles, they all came down here. It was during COVID. My aunts and my uncles. I had my other uncle that's in California. I brought him in on Zoom, on video. And I watched my dad, this 72-year-old man, become a little boy. Yeah. I've never seen my dad act like that. He was all up on his brothers and sisters. He's like, I'm going to sit over here with this. Yeah. I was looking, I said, this is really different. He was so happy. But he calloused his heart to not even expect the knowledge of ever knowing who his dad was. Yeah. And so the reality is we've come so normalized in absentee fathers. And it's like, I really don't think about it. I'm good. I got this. And we'll automatically start self-medicating. I got these. My coach, I got this coach, man. He was like a father, but wasn't your father. Yeah. And so that's my thing to you, Jordan. Thank you for showing up vulnerable in this. Anyway, what would you like to say about that before we wrap up that topic?
About you were saying what's our relationship now too. It's cool. I think we start off more like, I don't mind having a friendship. At the end of the day, like, I don't need you to father me anymore. I don't want to say that, but I know try to lead me and teach me. I'm 31 now. Yeah. But I would give you an example. This was crazy, and I never ever. It's so interesting you said it because I never cry about my dad. I really don't. Like, my mom would try to get it out of me.
Yeah, I
and I'm like, I'm chilling, but my dad had a play. That he just did at the beginning of this year, and he wanted me to go see it. It was in California. And so I had my Bel-Air people pull up, and we went to the play.
Take your time, King.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, he
No, I want him to talk. I'm gonna let Jordan talk.
Damn.
No, this our king show up. We show up vulnerable.
I went to the play. I was like, man, this nigga is so good. Yeah. He is so good. And I started crying in the front row. And he didn't know that I was doing this. And I started crying because, like, I'm an actor. He's an actor. I was an actor. And you were this good, like phenomenal. Like, my friends are like, yo, he's the best in the play. But he ain't never teach me none of that.
Yep.
And we in the same field. And it's not even for me to be like, why didn't you teach me? But it was just so interesting because him not being around, that's different. But now it's in the same field and I'm grown. And, you know, I would love tactics and certain stuff. And, you know, you can always learn and be a better actor. And it would be different, too, if he was bad. But he was so good. He was so good. And it's like, in a way, it's just like, not I could have been better, but just, it was, I don't even know. It was so many thoughts that I had that I just like started crying. And my friends were like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually okay. I'm just like, I don't even know if I'm shocked, if I'm disappointed, if I'm excited, if I'm proud. I didn't know what I felt. But I just knew that, like, man, with all this talent, and then, like, one of my favorite actors is Sterling K. Brown. Great actor, man. And seeing all these people that I look up to come to see my dad perform. And in a way, it's like, man, you cool. Like, you a cool.
You cool dude.
Like, you a cool. Like, you a cool, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that was when it was like, man, I think that's when we kind of became like more friends.
Right.
I'm interested, you know, it's too late for you to be a father, but we can be friends. But it was just so interesting. And it was like for a second, it was like, oh, it's so cool, my dad. But it's like, I don't even talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't around. So I don't ever say nothing good about what, not like, you know, not that I say stuff bad, but I don't really talk about it because he's not around. But then seeing him in this light, I didn't even know you was cool like this. And like, that was like, and then it was like, wow. And then it was like kind of sad.
Yep, that part.
Because it's like you kind of kept this away from me.
Yeah, that's it.
And your talents and all type of stuff. And maybe you could have taught me some stuff, you know? And so now he'll do certain things like, hey, man, if you ever want to run lines and stuff, like, we can do that. And like, I'll be like, sure. But it's like, I don't want to say it's too late, but it's just like my feeling is like, okay, well, like, if I feel like it, fine. But I already got my stuff going on now. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you another example, man. I don't want to put too much business out there, but it's my life, so whatever.
Yeah.
But my one of my close, like closer now, but like one of my friends, he plays Jake from State Farm. And we did a commercial together, a State Farm commercial, like Bel-Air oriented, whatever. And throughout the day, he was talking about my dad because I guess he did a play with my dad in New York, and he was like, dude, your dad is like the man. Keep in mind, he has no clue that my dad's not around, though.
Oh.
Has no clue. But he's just like, bro, Billy, like, that's your dad, dude? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, dude, he's like the whole reason why I came to LA.
Wow.
And everything, because I was struggling between yada, yada. And I didn't, you know, whenever you're moving states, you know, you ask for advice. And I guess my dad was like, man, go out there or whatever. But he took my dad's words like, you know, up here. And one of the crazy thing was, you know, it was like a 13-hour day. So I'm talking to him all day. And he talking about my dad like a lot of time. And it was more like, I'm not going to be like, well, you know, like, forget the, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not going to be like that. Because if he could do that for you, then that's cool. But at the time, I was more on some, like, I'm cool now, so I'm not tripping. If he can do that for somebody, well, at least he did for somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's what the type time I was on.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I don't know. Like, you got me really thinking, look, just a little bit differently. Like, you know, just like, man, like, it's just, like I said, like, it's a part of it's like, whoa, that's cool. Like, because to me, I'm like, this is Jake from State Farm. I'm like, oh my God, like, we see him. Everybody knows who this dude is. Oh my God. No, my dad, well, that's dope. And then it goes to like, oh, that's sad.
Yep.
You know? And I guess what you're saying, I think what's resonating with me is like the callous. Because you don't know that you're doing it.
Yep.
You know, you're just doing it because you kind of have to.
You had to for so long. Yep.
You know, just to be like, you know what I'm saying? Not dwell on certain stuff or just even subconsciously do that just so you can move. And like you say, we try to, but I got this and this and this and this and this. That still don't mean like he shouldn't be there, you know? And I think that is where my mind is changing right now because it's like, even when I talk about the butterfly effect, I always think I'm really saying something when I say
you were saying something.
You were deep. You were deep, brother. You were dropping gems.
No, for real.
That's what that's how you pacify that,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but like, forget that. Because then maybe I wouldn't have seen this. And like, you know, I'm actually glad. But it's like, sure, that sound good. It sounds good. But that don't mean that was supposed to happen.
At all, because that means that it's okay for me to be a father that don't take care of my responsibilities.
Yeah, like, you gonna make it? You'll be all right.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know, I remember this crazy comment where Joe Jackson said, "I'm the reason me beating Michael Jackson is the reason why he became who he is." So now you're normalizing the child abuse. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what?
Nah.
It's like the crazy psychology of that. How about we normalize healthy relationships? Why can't it be, I was present in my son's life. Things didn't work out with me and his mom. But hey, I respect her.
That's what I expected.
I love her. It just didn't work out. I love my son. I'm gonna be the best father. I wasn't a great husband. I'm gonna be the best father you'll ever have. Period. That's it. Why can't we normalize that? And then you become this amazing actor. And as a father, he helps you become an even greater actor. He said, "That's my son." Why can't that be normalized? Why got to be? Why do we normalize pain and be like, oh, we just have to have? It's like where they have like toxic relationships. Some people normalize toxic relationships and be like, oh, you know, struggle love. I like struggle love. It's like a man that honors and respects you and talks to you with common courtesy and decency. You be like, oh, he weak. He got to talk to you crazy and halfway beat you up for you to be like, now that's real love. Like, it's like, no, we want healthy. Dear Future Wifey podcast is here to promote healthy, to amplify healthy, for fathers to be fathers, for mothers to be mothers, for marriages to be marriages. We want to normalize healthy Black love, period. And so, Jordan, I thank you for being vulnerable because at the end of the day, and that's why your mom is trying to encourage you to go through therapy, is because you don't realize all the stuff that you've normalized in your life, and you be like, oh, it works out, you know. But this little quick conversation we had showed you that there's some things under the hood that needs to be dealt with, and sitting and just think about it. Yeah, your dad is extremely talented. When I first met him and I was in the play with him, when I was acting, I was like, this joker's a beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it makes all the sense in the world. Ptosha can act her behind off. You can act your behind off. He can act his behind off. Wow. It just makes all the sense in the world. You're a convergence of both of their DNAs. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And then sometimes you're trying to be like, well, he, you know, out of sight, out of mind. And I see why I'm so talented because my mom is so talented, until you recognize, oh, he's really good. Yeah. I wish he sucked so I could sit there and say he sucked. Like you said, this man's amazing. Oh my God. And then that feeling that you said that crept in your heart where you were like, dang, he could have taught me. No, it's just butterfly effect, butterfly effect.
And just to add on to that, I remember that night, it was his first time ever seeing his dad perform. Yeah. And he called me.
Well, I'll say this. I did when I was younger, but I didn't care.
Like 5.
You know, I didn't care about that or like know the difference between acting and
acting wasn't even a part of the radar.
I'm like not even really watching the play.
You was a little kid then?
Yeah. And then so now me being in the field and knowing like what it takes and everything and like really to hold a performance and to do this and captivate people, I know what it means. Yeah. And so then that is when it was like, oh wow.
And so the heart posture, how long ago was that play that you saw him in?
Beginning of this year.
Oh, it's this year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
March, April.
So in 2024, this will drop in 2025. So in 2024, it was there. Do y'all talk frequently?
We talk more than we ever have.
Of course.
But that's not every day or anything.
But is it like at least once a week?
No.
Is it once a month?
Maybe once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
Yeah. I'm going to add something to that. I think because the mother in me, I feel like, just that night when he did experience that, he called me at 2 a.m. and I knew that something had happened inside of him regarding that. And I videotaped that too, you don't know that. But
that was on
so that
FaceTime?
one day you'll be able to see it. And he was just, kind of trying to find how he was feeling.
Exactly.
He was like, well, I don't know how to feel. Like I'm happy, but I'm sad, but I'm, and I was like, it's okay to feel all those feelings.
Every one of those
and that's what I keep wanting you to tap into is you got to deal with it's in there. And he's such a positive human being. And he tries to like overcome and all of that. But because I was not around my father, I know what that is and how I had to work through some things so that it wouldn't hinder me personally in terms of my relationships and so on. So I'm constantly, tapping into that. But furthermore, I feel like because Jordan is such a success that his dad had to be forced to deal with his son. I remember when I went to see the play on Broadway, I went to see this play to look at my girlfriend was in it, and then he happened to be the husband. I was like, wait, what? And then Jordan's friend was in the play, and he knew me, and I said, hey, and I said, oh, did you meet Jordan's dad? He was like, and they're in the play together. Wait, you're Jordan's dad? And then they're trying to put it together. Or people that we've friended here in Los Angeles, they'll go see they went to see the same play. It was just one play that everybody
brought everybody together.
Yeah. And then they were like, wait, you've always said something about Jordan's dad, but that's him? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or so it kept being where he had to now almost have to deal with it.
He had to be deal with it.
And then they're like, Jordan L. Jones? When he was in the rail show, they had billboards all up in New York. And I said, God has a sense of humor.
He does.
He has a sense of humor because you're going to have to deal with this.
You're going to have to deal with it.
And God is putting it right in your face.
Dealt with it from New York, billboards from one show, and then now he's in LA. He's in LA, and then he got to deal with it face to face.
Yes, and I don't know if I can put this out here, Jordan, to stop me if I do, but even one of the characters in his show, in Bel-Air, because a lot of actors come from New York, and so his dad was in New York doing plays or whatever. And then she went to see this play in New York, and then he finally said, oh yeah, Jordan is my son. And she was like, wait a minute, I dated you for like, I don't know how long, and I never knew you had a son. You know what I mean? It's like, huh?
Gotta deal with it.
So God just has a funny sense of humor regarding that. So now I think it is because Jordan has become who he is. Yeah. Then now they got to deal with it because Jordan has made a name for himself, and then they're going, wait, that's huh? Yep. And they look just alike, and whatever. But so I think that's a part of it too. But I know that as a mother and as single parents out there, I believe in being an advocate for making sure that your kids have a relationship with whatever parent is absent. Yeah. So I was always in support of that, more than he was. And I think that's part of why I get upset.
So how did you feel then when he called you that night at 2:00 in the morning?
I want to kick his dad's ass. Excuse me, can you say that? I'm sorry. Back.
Because you knew it had to happen. You knew it was going to be a day where that moment would happen.
Listen, I had dinner with his dad because he's like, he wants to let's have dinner, let's talk.
Are you talking about that same day?
No, it was within that week.
Okay.
And I said to him, looking, because listen,
the black woman neck start moving.
Listen, because
I told him
when my son hurts,
calm your neck down.
I know, calm down. Okay, I'm back.
You ain't talking to him. You're talking to me. It's a safe space. You're talking to me.
when your child hurts,
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? You hurt. I mean, there's a saying that you're as happy as your saddest child.
Ooh.
And so this is the only one I have. And wherever he's feeling,
that's a powerful statement.
It's true. You're as happy as your saddest child. So that wherever he is where I go. And I can't be this if he's not okay, right? And so when he called me that night, because it just reminded me of so many other moments.
Yes.
Where Jordan had to call me. Say, Mom, he didn't show up.
Yep.
Mom, Dad didn't, you know what I mean? This didn't. And every time he hurts, I hurt.
Yes.
And so when he did that, I'm always, because that whole man macho thing, but I'm always saying, Jordan, you got to let it out. Yeah. Whatever you're feeling is true. Yeah. It's just true. It doesn't mean you're not okay. It doesn't mean you don't have a good life. It doesn't mean that you're not masculine. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you're human.
Yes.
And you have feelings.
Yep.
And they should be honored.
Absolutely.
And so I've always been that for him.
Good.
Because I've never believed in that suck it up and all that. Unless he's playing sports. I'm like, just wait till you get home.
Suck it up until you get home,
and then we're gonna get to it. And so when he called me that night, and it's funny because I videoed it. I don't know if the sound's there, but you could just see, because I just wanted him to see that one day, to go, it is affecting you.
Yes.
But he was like, Mom, I just, I was proud, I was sad, I was hurt, I felt, because here he's been a part of this journey with me, and then his dad has been on a journey, obviously, and then what was happening too is while they were there, people were like, "Oh, yes, your dad. Oh, no wonder you're good."
Yeah,
giving him credit. You know what I mean? And then Jordan can't go, well, wait. So you're in a place where it's like people are already creating what your story really is.
That part.
When it's not the story at all.
Yep.
And they had no idea. And so here's this young man now having to deal with all these feelings of, I love him, but I'm angry with him maybe.
Yep.
But I feel rejected because when, like his friend told him, man, your dad would, talk to me and motivate me or whatever.
Ooh, that right.
So, his mama had to have a lunch.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me?
You're inspiring other people.
Yeah, and I said to him, Jordan is never going to tell you this, but I'm telling you, that was hurtful. Because if you feeding into somebody else's son,
yes,
and you don't feed into your own, whether you and I are together or not, that hurts.
Absolutely.
And he was like, well, no, I didn't do that much. He was trying to downplay it. I said, yes, you did. You did enough.
You did more than what you did for Jordan.
You did. And I wanted him to know that, because, and I want Jordan and both of them to know that you can't just, okay, there's an elephant in the room and you never deal with it. And I said to Jordan, whenever you want to, like I did, I held my dad accountable. I said, you know what? I need to know, why weren't you there?
Yeah.
I need to know, why did you choose my siblings that I not met either? You chose them over me, even though I wasn't with you. Why didn't you try? Why didn't you fight for me? I want to know that. And so when I got that out, then I can be a clear, friend to my dad. And I was trying to give Jordan that same permission that you don't have to be the good person. You don't have to be the person to be, I'm okay. You might not be okay.
Say it.
You might not be okay, and it's okay to not to be okay.
Absolutely.
Because he needs to be accountable to you. It is incumbent upon him. And so, but Jordan is a man, and he gets to decide how he moves. But I just say to him, and then I even said to his dad, y'all could be, oh, Jordan, you have a nice house. Oh, but Jordan don't care about that with you.
Yeah,
Figure out how to be his friend, how to tap into what happened. Where'd you go? Why? Something. Right? But these are just the things that I'm saying. And then, of course, they have to do it on their own. But at the end of the day, I think God is in the mix of it. And he just has a sense of humor. He has turned this thing around full circle.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you can run, but you can't hide.
And what I'm hoping for you, Jordan, and I know you say that you rather have him as, at this stage, he can only be a friend. I'll challenge that ideology. He still can be a father. Fatherhood doesn't start, or doesn't end just because you became an adult. Yeah. There's some things that I'm believing God for that he'll be able to impart from it to you as a father that no other role can be placed in that. Like your friend's dad, they can do that. They can give you wisdom. They can do that. But your DNA, he has his DNA in you. And it's some things that he can father you through that will be extremely powerful. And you'll look back, you'll be like one day, I'm believing God. It may not come this year, next year, 2 years, but you're going to look at him in the eyes one day and be like, I love you, Dad. And when that takes place, it reminds me of that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode, Ooh. One of the most powerful episodes with Will and Uncle Phil, boy. He was just like, when I even think of that scene, I just want to cry. Oh, my God. But those moments that no matter what happens, we go through life with these voids that we normalize. And while he's still alive, that you get the opportunity to call him dad one day. I'm believing God for that. And I'm gonna end up closing out and praying with you about that. Yeah, because Rihanna's standing up. Rihanna said, y'all need to quit finishing. No, mess with it. I know she didn't say nothing. Rihanna said, hey, listen, I stood up 15 minutes ago and y'all didn't. But listen, I did want to take time for this. I never know what the episode is going to be about. I just let it free flow. But when you started talking about, I'm seeing this brilliant young king sitting in front of me. And I'm like, this guy is absolutely brilliant. I love your heart posture. I love your intellect. I love how I can see see that mother and son love that y'all have with each other. And it grieves my heart as a father to know that your biological father didn't benefit from the knowledge of you, that didn't benefit from the life of you, because you have, and this is what I'm gonna tell you, Jordan, as a father. Oftentimes you may look at it as you needing your father so much because he has all this knowledge and wisdom and all this type of stuff. I became a better man because of my kids, because I am so present in their life that they teach me about me by the way that I father them, by the way I cover them, thinking I may have it all together. And here I am, I have this one child that needs a little bit more of this of me. And I go, gosh, I got to be a little bit more hands-on with this person. This other child, I can just say, do this, and they do this. This other child I have a biological daughter that's 28 years old. And then I have my son Armani, who's 21, and my son Ladarian, that's 16. And both of those, one, like I said, was my nephew who's 16 that I adopted, and Armani that's 21. But I still have to father them all differently, And at first I was like, oh, I'll treat them the same way I treated my daughters. And I'm like, no, this is my nephew. He came from the foster care system, and my sister used to struggle with drug addiction. I got to father him differently because he was feeling the rejection of his mom not being there, not getting her life together for him. And then here I am, my other son, Armani, he's not biologically connected to me, but I love him like my biological child. But he has to understand that I love him like my biological child. In his mind, he may think, see, I ain't really his son, so he don't really love me like that. He love his biological daughter more than me. I'm like, no, I don't. I absolutely love you the same. But the journey that's teaching me about the faithfulness to my own kids, the love, the unconditional love to show them. And so what I'm saying to you, Jordan, is that there were things that you're supposed to teach your father. It's things that make him become a better man by being present in your life that will shape him to become a better man, period. And so I'm believing that for your father. I'm believing that for you. I'm believing for you to be connected to your purpose partner and your wife whenever you see fit. Let me ask you that. Do you desire marriage?
Yeah, I do.
And when do you are you ready for it, quote unquote, now? Have you met the woman right now? You think you'll be married within the next year or two?
If I met the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you married to the wrong one.
Yeah, right.
Please don't. Please.
I'm just telling you,
Please don't.
People always thought they said the right one.
The right one is his partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I would. Especially, absolutely.
So you desire marriage like
I
that?
do. And kids, all that.
And Ptosha, if you met the right one, would you be married within the next year or two?
I would. I am ready. I've grown. He's reared, so I don't have to worry about that part of it. And so it's just really me. And since he's been doing his thing, I've been really focusing on just, self-love. When you're a parent and a wife and all that, you're always feeding into other people. And so this is the first time in my life that I'm actually forcing myself to feed into me. And I think I deserve to be in a healthy relationship.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this, Jordan, too. What do you look forward to the most in marriage, Ptosha?
I look forward to friendship. I do. I look forward to
Jordan
a companion.
No, I was actually thinking about my answer.
Oh, okay.
That's why I say he started laughing.
All right. I look forward to, at this point, I don't, I'm not having more kids. I think it's more just a friendship and a life partner.
Yeah.
Somebody you can do life with, that you can support and they can support.
Yeah.
And you can continue to elevate and grow in love and in fun. All peace, though. That's what I like.
She said she want peace.
Peace.
Jordan, as you giggle, what were you thinking about?
I was just thinking about, just this dating scene I've been on, and just like, I need somebody for real that's like going to elevate me. Not have to be financially or nothing, but like a lot of girls, well, maybe it's just the girls I'm dating for real. But a lot of girls, it's like they just expect so much, but don't want to give nothing.
Explain that to me, because you're dating culture at your age. What are y'all experiencing?
Yeah.
It might be the girls that I'm talking to. I don't want to put this on every woman, but just, if you don't do this and this and like, oh, I expect this.
Well, what's the this? I want the this.
Just you expect the best. Like, even if we aren't even together yet, talking about first date, second date, third, like, you expect all these things because maybe somebody's done those for you or whatever.
I want to know the things,
but
Jordan.
Certain restaurants.
amount of money I
buying clothes
spend,
and buying jewelry and shoes. What is it?
Take
like
BK.
just materialistic things that have nothing to do with actually loving
What's
me.
the craziest thing you heard a woman ask you for, like, second date?
Man. Second date, she just basically asked me like, so like, what trip are we going on? And that's cool to go on trips, it is. But I don't love you yet. I don't know you yet. I don't want to spend money on you yet if I don't know who
I don't
you
want to go on a
are.
trip with you yet. I don't know if I don't like you for 3 days.
And I know you want me to pay for everything. And the thing is, what I always go back to is like, if I love you or if I really, really like for real, like mess with you,
Talk about, go and finish this.
I'm going to do that stuff anyway.
Without you even asking.
But right when before I got there emotionally, you're expecting these things, looking at me a certain way, like we haven't done this yet. It's like, oh, well, now I will never date
You was
you.
never bye. Bye.
Yeah. And it's, you know, just in the culture that I live into, a lot of guys enable that.
Yep.
You know? And so it's like I gotta walk around and it's like a certain way, like, cause everybody else at the table doing, I'm like, man, like, I don't even really like her like that. Let me put my card down. And I guess like I'll pay for all these girls in here. I don't even like y'all. But all the dudes gonna look at me weird, bro, like, you know, we get down. I guess, man, put that card down, man.
I don't even like y'all.
Like, just because I got it don't mean I want to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I
you
want to
don't
do
have
it.
to.
Yeah,
I don't
want
have to.
I want to
know
do it
you.
for somebody that I want to do it for, not just because it's expected.
So, Jordan, let me empower you again on this.
Please,
don't
please
conform
do.
to that foolishness.
Okay, I feel you.
Keep your money in your pocket. Don't again normalize foolishness.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, my homeboy Anthony O'Neill, he's a financial advisor. He has his whole platform about finances. He said, "I'm not finna spend all my money on dates while I'm waiting on my wife." And so the reality is that he said, I'm gonna spend all my money up and I ain't gonna have nothing for my wife.
For my wife, yeah.
And so the reality is, say it. Be known as the one that's cheap. Be like, you ain't, what is it? I ain't, hey, what? Nope. Maybe like, oh, you ain't gonna do that? Not. Yeah. And stand on it, because in the day,
I feel you on that,
because you just said that a lot of the guys have enabled that behavior,
For
but guess
sure.
what? You're doing it too.
You're doing it
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
And so it got to stop somewhere. You got to stop. Like, I'm not finna be buying all y'all this stuff. We not together. I don't even like you like that.
Thank you. Look,
Just say.
hallelujah.
I think
That's
that's
what
the main.
father- that's what father-
Yeah, the
father
main
gets
thing
you
is
Because I say it all
don't
the
even
time,
like
but
you
I
like
think
that.
I'm like, wah,
You
wah, wah.
mama. You need a man to tell
Right,
him, Mr. Father.
and it's so funny because I'm like part of his like finance manager, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll look at stuff. I'm like, Wally's $800. What? For what? You took some girl on a date at
That is
$800. Why?
crazy.
I'm like, look, your mother is dating, and I don't even require that.
$800.
What in the world?
That's crazy.
I was like, Jordan, you ain't got to do that. You
At
can
all.
still, I'll go on a date, and if it's a nice restaurant or whatever, I'm good because I'm trying to get to know the person.
Yes.
You ain't got to impress them like that. And if they
No.
demand it, then that's a no.
And just know what you start off, you got to keep up. And so if you keep doing that, you start off that way, and then you try to normalize it, then she's going to be like, see, when you first met me, you was doing this. You'd be like, and I didn't want to do it then.
Yeah, I
But
didn't.
they not gonna
I
believe
wasn't
that.
trying to do it then.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, nah, you got to, because they're gonna look at it like you done love bombed them, giving them all this nice stuff up front, and then you say, hey,
all right, what's
listen,
next? It's only up from here.
It's only up from
I'm
here.
like, wait,
You
this
might be
is
starting too high.
this all you
I'm
getting
looking
for
like,
real. No, that's funny.
Take you to Ralph's.
I mean, it's
Go
just,
to the
you can
grocery
get some
store.
decent restaurants because I've always taught him, I don't care what. Even when he was growing up and, he was at Brentwoods and all that and he was dating girls, their parents
Yeah.
had trillions. And then here I am. But I'm like, no, I'm working hard. Give him money to make sure you pay for this date. We didn't have no money, but no, son, I don't care if our dad is him and her, whatever, you paying for this date. So, because I wanted to rear him in the right way.
Yeah.
But now, so that's in his heart. That's what he does. But now you ain't got to pay no $500.
You'll be broke. Jordan, you'll be broke fooling with
Man.
that. You'll be broke.
Man,
You'll be broke.
And there was one time it was so funny. I was telling my friends because, sometimes you just dating just to have fun.
Yeah,
and, stuff.
of
And then I
course.
was like, look, y'all, for real, I'm about to find my girl. But in my head, I was like, I'm gonna find her this month, right? So I started taking this one girl on a date. Boom, boom. Then 3 days later, I took another girl on a date. And then, okay, now Saturday come, I took another girl on a
And
date.
how much are you spending on these days?
Dude, I at the end of the week, I was like, wait a minute. This is way too much money.
Oh.
I'm spending on these girls that I've just realized after a week, I don't like them at all.
So how much did you spend at the end of that week?
I
don't even
How
want
much
to
was it
tell
total?
my
Would you
mom.
like for me to tell?
I really don't want
Toast,
to
how much
tell my
was it?
mom.
About $1,500.
Okay, I'm glad that she thinks that that's the answer.
Okay, don't tell me no more then. Lord, don't tell me no more.
It was more than that.
And I try my best because I know my role now is to guide. It's not
Jordan,
to
how much was it?
Jordan
I don't
Jones.
even know if I should even seriously.
Oh Lord,
Say it, George.
I'm about to have a heart
About
attack. Hold
25?
on, hold on.
You know what I'm saying? Because I appreciate my mom too, because we have we have I have an account manager, a financial manager,
Jordan,
but I also
how much was it, Jordan?
I've also deemed her. Hold on, let me get this out. I've also deemed her one of my financial managers as well, just so you know.
Yeah, keep it level.
But she don't see everything. You know, it's not like she sees about one account. I got a couple, but like, I've definitely spent in a week definitely like more than $5,000-6,000.
Oh my God,
for sure.
Jordan Jones.
And the thing is, there's dudes I know it's like $5,000-6,000.
Jordan.
Like,
He gonna try
I
to
spent
pay
20 racks, and I'm like, bro, look, for somebody you not even really. It's like, nah, I don't really, you know. I'm like, this is tough if I don't care about you at all. It's really tough.
We having a financial meeting. We get that.
Man,
I done got you in trouble. Jordan. You said you spent $5,000-6,000 at the end of that week, and then you look back and say, I ain't like none of them.
I don't like none of them.
I would have to make myself
They
start
cool,
liking
but
one
like
of them.
nothing like I'm not going out with you again. Like, you know, it was cool. It's cool. I had fun and everything, but no, you're not the one for me type. You know.
But I'm telling you, if you start vetting from your core values, establishing what your core values are, and then date based on that, then you'll be able to weed the ones that's for you or the ones that's just there for what you can give them. Because the reality is, these beautiful vows that you're going to take one day says for richer or for poor, for better or for worse. Yeah. And when you're vetting someone, you need to vet them not based on my rich, my better, my health. You need to vet them to say, hold on, would you really be with me if I had nothing? Would you be able to wipe my behind if I got sick? Would you be like, ew, that's nasty, I don't want that, or would you be like, baby, I got you? Like, you better vet based on that. And if you're already starting out with you have to throw money at a woman to keep her entertained, she ain't the one. She is not the one.
For real.
Listen, how can we support y'all? The Lit Fam, we come together, we support you, whether it's your shows, whether it's your website, y'all got merch, what y'all got going on? How can we support y'all?
I mean, you go for
I'll start. Well, just continue to support The Oval. We're coming back.
Yeah.
Season 6.
Look at that camera right there.
That's right. Okay. Oh, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
We're coming back. The Oval, Season 6, starting January 6th of 2025. So that's a couple weeks away. And look, pray for Nancy. Pray for Nancy.
The Oval, yes.
Yes.
For me, I would just say, just follow me on my socials. You know, Jordan L. Jones is my name all across all the socials, so you'll find me. And then season 4, the final season of Bel-Air, right? That's going to come out soon. Well, we go back and we shoot it in May, but if you haven't watched on Peacock, seasons 1 through 3, please go tap in. I play jazz. It's going to be a great show. I promise you it's a good show. You watch the first episode, you're going to love it. The whole family, all ages. And season 4 on the way, man. I'm very excited. So,
I actually played his mom on Bel-Air.
She did.
Isn't that dope?
She did.
How'd that come about?
I auditioned. I literally auditioned.
But did they know that? Did you say that's my son?
No.
So what? So let me explain this story.
Yeah.
Because she's wild for this. But I respect it. It's still wild though.
What she do?
I would say that I don't know how much pull I have, but I am on the show and they listen to us as the cast. There is a world that maybe I could have been like, yo, mom, put my mom in this, and maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but she didn't even give me the opportunity. She auditioned for it and then told me after she auditioned. And I'm like, oh, so like they probably already said, why didn't you tell me? Like, you're not gonna say nothing before, like right when you got it? Like, she did the audition.
And what's so cool about it is, of course, then Jordan knew I booked it. But I was so happy to do that because I was like,
I got them.
But then I get on set and then I'm meeting the people. I was like, yeah, I'm playing Jazz's mom. I'm Jazz's mom. I'm Jazz's mom. So I said, I'll let Jordan say if he wants to say I'm his birth
actual
mom.
mother.
Yeah. So then when Jordan comes on set, and I think we had a dinner break or something, and then Jordan, go ahead. What'd you say? Jordan?
Yeah, first let me go back a little bit.
Okay.
So after that, I'm like, she's tripping. She should have been told me this. But now that I have that information, she didn't ask me to do any of that for her, but just off the strength. Now I'm like, look, it wasn't just like, oh, trust my judgment. It's, yo, do you guys see all that tape with Ptosha Storey? That was good. Okay, just so you know, that's my actual mother. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why she didn't tell me that she was doing this.
I love that.
But that was cool. And it was cool that she actually booked the role because, you know, especially in this show, like we like to do like a lot of cameos too. So I think there was in certain talks, it was like maybe DJ Jazzy Jeff and Karen Parsons, who played Hillary, were going to be my parents.
Yeah.
You know, but that was just rumor or whatever.
Yeah.
But we always have those. And we've had, you know, Daphne Maxwell Reed. We had I forgot her name, but she played Will's mom in the original.
Oh, yeah.
Tatiana Ali is the little Ashley's teacher in the show. So they do little stuff like that.
I love it.
And it's great. Like even like one of Aunt Viv's like art pieces is like a portrait of the original Uncle Phil. Rest in peace. And so we always throw stuff in there like that. So that was like one of the things that were rumored. And if that happened, that would have been cool too. Right. But it was great that like they actually were like, no, this is gonna be great, and obviously like our chemistry good because actually my mom, like, I didn't have to act.
But on set, I think we were at lunch or whatever, and then you were like, "Hey, y'all, did y'all meet my mom?" They said, "Yeah, we met your mom." And then he was like, "No, my birth mom," and everybody just went up. It was a whole crazy thing. Then they sent cameras. They did a whole video, and they did a whole Mother's Day tribute with Jordan and I.
I love that.
The Peacock did. So for me though, it was
that'll get you there, boy.
It was a full circle moment to be able to work with my son. We had never worked together. Most people didn't even know his Nancy on the Oval, and you know, and then you have Jazz on Bel-Air, and so to know that we were really, you know, that I really birthed him into this world, and then got a chance to play his mom and to be in that moment, and I just watched him and everything that I worked for. It started coming to me like, God. So it was beautiful.
And then what did God say to you earlier?
I thought I was done crying.
He said, time that God speaks to you, what did he say?
He told me that he was my purpose, and after that, he got me.
There it is.
And he has had me ever since.
We're going to end on that.
Wow.
I know.
We're going to end on that. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode. Y'all give it up for Jordan L. Jones.
I was a
and Ptosha Storey.
I never cry, I swear. Like, I never cry.
And like Tosha with a P, Ptosha, Storey, and that's all my social media.
That's
Ptosha
social
Storey.
media.
You got me crying.
I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry.
And it's just so funny because I just know like how great this podcast is.
Yeah.
I just know how many people are about to see me cry. And I'm like,
just happy to see
man.
that you will cry.
Stay tuned to the end for a letter to my future wifey.
Been writing these love letters to you.
Ladarian, thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical contexts, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless Black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today. Man, this episode was really, really powerful, very unexpectedly powerful. And like I said, this is the season. This is the year that I want Black families to be restored, healed. I want to pass on generational healing instead of generational curses. Well, here's my favorite part of the podcast where I speak to my future wifey. Dear future wifey, the moment I say I do, it won't just be to you. It will be to the life we'll build together, to the dreams we'll chase, and to the destiny we'll co-create. You are not just my partner in love, but my teammate in purpose. I've long envisioned what it would be like to pursue dreams alongside my wife, hand in hand, heart to heart. Together, we'll face challenges as stepping stones to greatness. Celebrate not just the finish lines, but the journey itself. Our dreams will weave into each other's, creating a tapestry uniquely ours, a legacy that tells the world how love fuels purpose. I promise to champion your vision as much as my own. I'll cheer for you in the quiet moments when doubt whispers lies and stand beside you when the spotlight illuminates your brilliance. Our union will be a reflection of God's creativity, a testament to what happens when 2 aligned souls walk boldly in faith. We'll build, strategize, and pray together. We'll encourage each other to dream bigger, to leap further, and to trust in the one who gave us these dreams in the first place. When we're old and gray, I want us to look back on a life of adventures, risks, and triumphs. Let's promise each other now, no dream will be too big, no fear too great, and no obstacle too daunting when tackled together. Your future hubby. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.